She leaned past me in the kitchen, set her mug on the counter I just wiped, and said, "Don't wait up. Book club might run late." No kiss, no glance, just a polite announcement like I was the neighbor borrowing a ladder. "Since when do you have a book club on Tuesdays?" I asked. She shrugged, tugged the sleeve of a sweater I gave her for our anniversary. "Since Kelly moved it. No big deal." It was the first time I felt the temperature drop. Not the weather. Us. If I'd known where that shrug was headed, I'd have skipped the flowers and saved the receipt. I drove to work with that voice in my head, the one she uses for small talk. We used to have the other voice, the one that had soft edges. The edges were gone. By lunch, I had convinced myself it was stress. By dinner, I knew it wasn't. When she came back, I met her at the door with dinner warm and the table set. "Looks nice," she said, scanning her phone while kicking off shoes. "You shouldn't have waited." I didn't. I gestured at the plate covered with foil. I reheated it. "Same difference." "No," I said, and pulled out her chair. "There is a difference." Her eyes flicked up, then down. "Okay, thank you." We ate. She talked about some coworker's new puppy like it deserved a federal update. I watched her, and the way she didn't watch me back. After dishes, I tried the adult route. "We good?" I asked. Her eyebrow ticked. "Do we have a problem?" "That's the question. You're being intense." "I'm being clear." "About what?" "About you being 10 feet away even when you're standing next to me." She folded a towel and stacked it like a shield. "You're reading into things." "I'm good at reading," I said. "You used to hand me the book." She rolled her eyes. "This again? Can we not? I've had a day." "I'm not a day," I replied. "I'm your husband." She blew out a slow breath. "I didn't say you weren't. That's about as warm as a parking ticket. I don't have the energy for a fight." "I'm not fighting. I'm asking." "And I'm answering." "We're fine." "Convince your face," I said. "Convince your tone." She flinched, then smoothed her sweater. "You're being critical." "I'm being honest." I set the towel down, straightened it, and left it there. "If this is a phase, say it. If you need space, say it. What I won't do is sit here pretending I can't see what I see. Can we just table this?" Her eyes were already on the hallway. "Sure," I said, "but I won't forget where we left it." She walked away like I'd offered a weather report. That night, she slept at the edge of the mattress. It used to be our joke. I run hot. She steals the blankets. No jokes now. A line of fabric between us like a border patrol. The next day, I called Emily. Emily is her sister, the one who introduced us at a barbecue 5 years ago. We bonded over overcooked burgers and a faulty lighter. She's sharp, not sentimental. When we bought the house, she showed up with a toolbox and a take-no-nonsense look. We'd kept that rhythm, the easy one. I sat in my truck outside the hardware store job I was supervising and hit call. "Hey, trouble," Emily answered. "What's broken now, your sink or your patience?" "It's not the sink." I rested my wrist on the steering wheel. "It's your sister." "A beat." "All right. What did she do?" "Nothing. That's the problem. She's polite like a receptionist." "Huh. I tried to talk," I said. She handed me a brochure that said, "We're fine" in big letters, and walked off. "I hate that voice," Emily muttered. She used to use it on telemarketers. Now she uses it on me. "You want my take?" she said. "That's why I called. Don't chase. Set a line. You start chasing, you teach her that tone works." I set lines. You know me. So set a new one. "I will." And Emily, "Yeah. I'm not asking you to pick sides. I'm asking you to be honest." "I'm always honest," she said. "Even when it costs me." "Good. Keep me posted. And don't play nice more than once." I took that and ran with it. That weekend I planned a date, old school. Steak at the small place near the lake. Candles at home after. Clean sheets. It wasn't a desperate move. It was a test. If the bridge was burned, I wanted to see the ashes. I told her Friday morning in the kitchen while the coffee dripped. "Tonight. You and me. 6:30. Wear that black dress that makes you smile." She didn't look up from her phone. "I have yoga." "Move yoga," I said, pouring 2 mugs. She blinked. "You can't just." "I can." I slid a mug over. "If you want this, be home at 6:20. That's not how this works." "It is now." She hesitated, measuring me. "Fine. 6:30. But I can't stay out late. Kelly needs a ride." "We'll take separate cars," I said. "You leave when you want." "I'm staying." Her mouth pinched, then released. "Okay." At the restaurant, I made easy talk. Work. House projects. I gave her chances. I left some silence so she could fill it. She didn't. She was polite and somewhere else. When the waitress set our plates down, I tried again. I miss us, I told her. She cut her steak into meticulous pieces. You always say that when work slows down. No, I say it when you're visiting a different zip code while sitting across from me. I'm here, she said, looking over my shoulder. I know, I said. Your body showed up. The rest is in transit. She frowned. You're not being fair. I'm being direct. There's a difference. She chewed, swallowed, checked the time. This is a lot. What is? This behavior. The agenda. The candles. The speech. It's called marriage, I said. She put her fork down. Can we not do this in public? We can do it anywhere we respect each other, I said. Public or private doesn't change the truth. Her cheeks flushed. I don't want to talk about this. Not wanting to talk isn't the same as it not being there. She reached for her purse. I'm going to head out. I leaned back. There it is. There what is? The exit strategy. I told you I had to give Kelly a ride. You can text her, I said. We both know that. She stared at me, then stood anyway. I'm leaving. I didn't follow. I let the waitress box up her dinner, paid the bill, and sat on the bench outside with the lake wind in my face for 10 quiet minutes. When I got home, I put her boxed dinner in the fridge with a note on it. Reheat on low. That's how things stay tender. She didn't touch it. Next morning, she was bright like a sales meeting. Sorry about last night, she chirped while pouring cereal. I got a call, and it turned into a thing. A thing, I repeated. Classic. You're upset. No, I'm updated. I'll make it up to you tonight. Movie? Your pick. I watched her set the cereal box with too much care. There it was, soft apology, small effort. A bandage over a leak. All right, I said. 8 o'clock. Phone's on the counter. She laughed. That's a rule. That's a boundary. She made a face, then smoothed it out. Okay. Phone's away. We watched a movie. Halfway through, her screen lit up on the counter. She looked at it like a dog hears a can opener. I paused the movie. She glanced at me. Can I just check? No. It might be important. If it's important, they'll call. I'll be quick. Then you can be quick later, I said, unpausing the movie. Right now you're here. Her jaw went tight. She didn't reach for it, but she didn't lean toward me either. We finished the movie like colleagues in an airport lounge. 2 days later, she had another book club. Only now it was sort of a happy hour that turned into dinner. You getting home late? I asked, checking my calendar. Probably, she said, tying her hair back. Don't wait up. There it is again, I said. Don't wait up. You want me to text every hour? She snapped. I want you to not act like this house is a hotel. She rolled her eyes. You're overreacting. I'm adjusting, I answered. We're going to try separate budgets for a while. I moved my check to a different account this morning. She froze. What? You heard me. That's punitive. It's adult, I said. You're busy most nights. That's your schedule. Here's mine. I'm not financing a ghost. She laughed, short. You think money is the issue? I think respect shows up in calendars and bank statements, I said. When you're ready to be clear, we'll revisit. That's controlling. No, I said. This is controlling, letting silence rewrite the rules. I'm writing them down. She put on her jacket, grabbed her purse, and left without another word. I cleaned the kitchen, then sat with that quiet and made 2 calls. One to a locksmith for new codes on the garage keypad. One to a guy Darren at work had recommended once for a very different kind of job. I met the investigator the next day at a coffee place off the highway. He was compact, neat, with a calm voice and the kind of eyes that count exits for a living. His name was Miles. You want confirmation or you want a story? He asked after I explained the schedule and the tone and the sudden love of book clubs. Facts, I said. Names, dates, patterns. If there's nothing, I want to be wrong cleanly. And if there's something, then I want to be done cleanly. All right, Miles said, sliding a plain notepad over. Give me the nights. The routine. Where she says she's going. Friends she mentions. I gave him everything. He didn't do pep talks. He did logistics. It was a relief. The next week was a case study in polite frost. She was nicer after I moved the money. She made coffee 2 mornings in a row. She texted me a picture of a dog in a sweater with "This reminded me of the time we tried to dress up Max." It was supposed to be light. It was also timed exactly after I told her I moved my paycheck. "You're being sweet," I told her. "I'm trying," she said. "You've been so serious." "I've been consistent." She came home early one night with groceries. "I thought I'd cook," she said, unloading vegetables. "Remember when we used to do stir-fry on Thursdays?" "I do." She chopped, played music low, and brushed past me 3 times without that old ease, but with a new performance. Mid-turn, I thought. A nice one, but a turn. While she stirred, my phone buzzed with a text from a number I'd saved as M. Thursday. Restaurant on 8th, 7:12 p.m. He arrived first. She arrived 7:27. Left 8:45. Address follows. I slid the phone face down. I ate the stir-fry. I complimented the seasoning. I did not announce that Thursday's dinner had an audience down the street. I kept my distance and my plan. 2 days later, Miles handed me a slim folder in my truck outside the job site. No drama. Photos. Times. A printout with a name, Mike Dalton. Address. The neighborhood was 20 minutes from ours. Different school district, newer mailboxes. Patterns consistent, Miles said. Every time she says happy hour or book club. Mostly Thursday, sometimes Tuesday. He works flexible hours. "Does it matter to you what I do with this?" I asked. He shook his head. "I care that you asked for facts and paid on time." Then we're both happy. I spent the afternoon finishing a set of built-in shelves for a client and ran numbers in my head. Late that day, on the back ramp of the shop, Darren came out to smoke and squinted at me. "You look like you found a nail in your tire," he said. "I found the nail gun," I replied. He whistled low. "You good?" "I'm going to be." "Need anything?" "Just a witness that I didn't yell," I said, half grinning. "That I can do." I drove home with the folder under the seat. I didn't open it again. I'd seen enough. That night, she was falsely bright. "Emily asked about you," she said in the kitchen. "She said you sounded tired." She's not wrong. "Well, she's worried you're, you know." She twirled her hand. "Overthinking." "I'm allergic to underthinking." She laughed a little too loud. "You're so dramatic lately." "Not dramatic," I said. "Decisive." The next morning, I met with an attorney. Simple paperwork. No fireworks. After, I walked out into the cold parking lot and thought about our first year, the plans, the stupid fights about paint colors, the gentle apologies that used to be real. I put those in a box in my head and closed the lid. That night, I texted her at 9:30. "Me, where are you? Need to talk. Important." At 10, my phone lit up. Her, "I'll be late. Helping Emily." I stared at that line for a long minute. Then I texted Emily. "Me, you with her?" "Emily, no. Why?" "Me, she says she's helping you." "Emily, you're kidding." "Me, I'm not." "Emily, oh, she's using me now? Cute." "Me, remember when you said if you ever need help?" "Emily, say when." "Me, tonight. Crash at my place. One night. I want a witness and I want the noise to stop." "Emily, yes. On my way. I'll bring that bottle of seltzer you hate." "Me, perfect. Front door code changed. I'll let you in." I vacuumed, not because she'd judge, but because it gave my hands something to do. When Emily arrived, she held up a bag of chips like we were teenagers sneaking a movie. "On a school night," she said. "Scandalous," I said, taking her coat. We sat on the couch and put on an old action movie that didn't require brains. She made jokes at the right moments. I laughed in the right places and in a few wrong ones. It was the first time in weeks I didn't feel like I had to earn my air. "You good?" she asked during a commercial. "I'm better than I was at 9:30. I hate that she dragged me into her cover," Emily said, frowning at the screen. "That's a new low." "She's running a budget," I said. "Time, attention, excuses. You were a cheap line item. I'm going to have words with her. Get in line." We didn't touch anything unsaid. We didn't gossip. We didn't flirt. We just sat in the quiet like grown-ups who tasted peace and wanted a second bite. Before bed, I pulled a couple suitcases from the closet and set them on the bed in the guest room. "You want help?" Emily asked, in the doorway. "Yeah." I opened the dresser drawers. "Top 2. Keep it tidy." We packed. Not dramatic. Just shirts, jeans, the sweater she wore to the restaurant, folded cleanly. I put her bathroom things in a tote. When it was all stacked by the door, I felt not numb. Clean. Thanks, I said, locking the front door. Anytime, Emily replied. And I mean that. We slept in separate rooms. I slept like a man whose mind finally matched his calendar. Morning came early. I made coffee. Emily whisked eggs like she had somewhere to be by 9. We were plating omelets when the front door opened. She walked in, saw me, saw Emily, and stopped like she'd hit a glass wall. Morning, I said, cheerful enough to be alarming. Oh good. Looks like Mike finally let you go. Her keys clattered onto the table. What? Emily crossed her arms. Don't use my name in your lies ever again. I didn't, my wife started. You texted him you were with me. Emily snapped. At 10, while I was at home watching true crime and minding my business. My wife looked at the suitcases. What is this? Baggage claim, I said. She looked from me to Emily and back. This isn't what it looks like. You sure? I asked. Because it looks like you stayed at Mike's place and used your sister as a hall pass. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. You got this wrong. I slid the folder across the counter. Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. Dates. Times. Your new favorite spots. The condo with the view. Her eyes hit the photos. The pictures were not cinematic. Just 2 people walking into the same door. 2 people eating. 2 people leaving. It was all very ordinary. It hit like a sledge anyway. She didn't reach for the excuses. She reached for tears. I made a mistake, she whispered. I can fix this. No, I said. You made a series of decisions. Here's mine. I filed yesterday. Her hand went to her mouth. You what? Paperwork's in motion, I said. Your things are by the door. I ordered you a ride. It'll be here in 10. To where? She asked, small now. Anywhere but here. She turned to Emily. Can I stay with you? Just for a few days? Emily picked up her keys. No, I won't be your spare bed. Please. Don't, Emily said. You used my name as a cover. You knew what that would do to me. I won't be involved in any part of this. My wife spun back to me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. Correct, I said. But you did. And then you told me we were fine. I don't hand out second tries for disrespect. I can do better, she said, voice shaking. I shrugged. Go do it somewhere else. She blinked at the suitcases, at the coffee, at the way the house looked normal with her world upside down. You brought my sister here. I invited a witness, I said. Also a friend. Turns out I have those. You're cruel. No, I said. I'm thorough. She stared at the photos again, then back at my face. The tears were still there, but the outrage was trying to get up. She was searching for a lever. There's nothing to talk about, I said before she found it. The ride's almost here. Can I at least say goodbye to the house? She asked. It's not a dog, I said. But sure. 5 minutes. She sank onto the stair and pretended to tie her shoe. When she looked up again, her face was a little angrier. You made me feel lonely, she said, like it was an indictment. I shook my head. You made you feel entertained. The car horn sounded outside. I carried a suitcase to the porch. Emily lifted the other. My wife took the tote from the counter and stood there with 3 versions of her choices in her hands. This is so cold, she said at the door. It's room temperature, I replied. It just feels cold because you've been overheating the truth for months. She didn't answer. She walked to the car with the stiff posture of someone who wants points for posture. She didn't look back, which was good, because I wasn't offering a last wave. When the door shut, Emily exhaled like a set was over. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said, surprising myself with how true it was. I'm good. You handled that cleaner than I would have. Next time I'll host a seminar, I said, pouring more coffee. She laughed, then sobered. You know she'll try to come back. She already started in the kitchen. Fair. We ate breakfast. After, Emily grabbed her bag. I'm a text away, she said. For anything. I know, I said. Thanks. She paused at the door. I'm mad at her, but I'm not in your marriage. If you ever change your mind on anything, I'm not judging. I already decided, I said. This was the easy part. Following through will be the work. I trust you with the follow-through, she said, and left me with the clean quiet again. The next weeks were a steady parade of texts and messages. Long apologies. Short apologies. Late night, can we talk, pings. A photo of a coffee cup at a place we used to go. I didn't block her. I didn't respond either. I had already spoken. At work, Darren watched me for cracks. He didn't get any. You sure you're not a robot? He asked one afternoon as we lifted a door into place. Positive, I said. Robots don't make omelets. Emily and I fell into a rhythm I didn't expect, but wasn't going to overthink. We got coffee on Saturdays sometimes. She asked about my projects and made fun of my boring truck. I asked about her dating misadventures and made fun of her devotion to true crime. We never talked about the folder. One evening, I ran into Kelly at the grocery store, the friend my wife used to invoke like a magic spell. Hey stranger, she said by the freezer section. How's married life? Being audited, I said. She gave a half smile. She's been taking on a lot. She delegated a few things, I said. I reassigned them. Kelly looked at me then, really looked. I didn't know. You weren't supposed to. I won't pick a side, she said quickly. I didn't ask. Right? She said, reddening. Sorry. Don't be, I said, reaching for frozen vegetables. Just don't cover for her lies, even by accident. Be a friend by being quiet. She nodded. I can do that. At the shop, we got a last-minute order that meant working Saturday. I told Emily I couldn't do coffee. She said she'd swing by the shop with muffins. I said I'd allow it if she didn't get powdered sugar on the walnut slab we were sanding. She showed up at 10 in a hoodie and stood by the rolling door while Darren tried to look useful. You must be the famous Emily, he said, wiping his hands on a rag that didn't need it. I'm only famous to people who owe me money, she said. I don't, Darren replied quickly. Then we're good. She handed me a paper bag. You look less haunted, she said. That's an improvement. I slept, I said. It helps. Who knew? She deadpanned. Miles sent me one last invoice and a line. Happy to help. I sent a tip and 2 words. You were. Practical men don't need paragraphs. The paperwork moved, then finished. On a rainy Wednesday, I got an email confirmation and a thin letter in the mailbox. That night, she texted, Can we meet? Just to close the loop. I didn't answer. I didn't know a meeting. I owed myself a quiet night, and I took it. 2 months later, I widened the patio and bought a secondhand grill. Darren came by with his wife. Emily came with a guy named Nate who had a good handshake and the exact amount of jokes. How's single life? Darren asked over the hiss of the grill. Less complicated, I said. Emily clinked her chin against mine. To clarity, I agreed. We ate. We talked about everything that wasn't a folder. It was ordinary in the best way. My ex sent fewer messages as the weeks went on. A holiday came and went. She tried one more time with a picture of a recipe I used to make on Sundays. Missed this. I didn't respond. I made the recipe anyway and brought half to Emily because she always forgets to eat on Sundays. Look at you being domestic, she said, taking the container. Careful, I said. I have a reputation. With who? She shot back. Darren. He's impressed by paper plates. True, I said. On a Monday, I saw Mike's name in a comment under one of my ex's posts. It wasn't gloating. It wasn't anything. It just existed. Emily saw it too, apparently, because she texted me a screenshot with blocked him out for you and a gray square covering his name. I wrote back, appreciated. Life moved. My mornings included the gym and coffee. My evenings included sawdust and quiet. I didn't check doors 5 times before bed anymore. I didn't live with the window draft that wasn't a window draft. When people asked what happened, I told them this. I care about respect. She had different priorities. I chose my own house again. Some nights I sat on the back steps with a sweatshirt and listened to the neighborhood go soft. A cat would cross the yard like it paid rent. Somewhere a TV would laugh. My phone would stay dark on purpose. Emily and I became the kind of friends who can sit without filling space. When she had a bad date, she called and gave a 3-sentence summary with a punchline. When I had a job go sideways, I called and gave a 4-sentence plan with a timeline. We were a team in the simplest way. Once, at her place, she asked, You ever think about, starting over? I did, I said. I started over with myself. She nodded. Good answer. Also the only one I have. She threw a chip at me. You're insufferable. Accurate, I said, catching it. Here's what mattered. I didn't beg. I didn't barter. I didn't run applications for my own life. When the cold turned to ice, I built a new roof and kept my head dry. The house held. The last time my ex tried to knock was a year later, in the form of a message that said, New neighborhood. Hope you're well. I didn't need to be the bigger person. I just needed to be the same person I'd been since that first shrug in our kitchen. Consistent. I archived the message. Then I grabbed my keys, met Emily for a hike, and listened to her complain about a rock in her shoe like it had done it on purpose. We stopped by a diner on the way back, and she stole my fries like a sibling. You ever think about that night? She asked. The morning, I mean, with the omelets? Sometimes. Does it bug you that I was there? It saved me from second-guessing myself, I said. I knew exactly how far gone it was. She nodded. Me too. We finished our food. On the way out, the waitress said, You two married? No, Emily said, grinning. We just share a brain cell. Custody is contentious, I added. The waitress laughed. We walked out into a clean afternoon. What do you call it when the storm passes and the roof doesn't leak? You call it normal. You respect it by not poking holes to see if it holds. People think strength is loud. Mine was just consistent. I didn't smash plates. I set them down and walked away. I put the suitcase by the door and said one sentence that closed the loop. You don't get a second try at respect. She left. I stayed. And life, stubborn and simple, got good. My house, my work, my truck, my circle, small and steady. The woman who introduced me to my ex turned out to be the person who helped me leave that old life cleanly. We never blurred lines. We didn't need to. We had something better, a clear one. As for my ex, the last I heard from mutual acquaintances was that she'd bounced apartments twice and changed jobs. That's not a curse or a celebration. It's a status update. She wanted variety, freedom, noise. She got them. I wanted respect. I kept it.